Welcome everyone to our weekend analysis. The trading has ended, the week has ended, the month has ended, and we are getting ready for a good start in August with the markets. And right now, everything is on a pause. If your take profits were hit, good for you. If your stop losses were hit, there is always next week to try again. So before we even begin, today is the last day. You're practically left with 1 hour before this promo ends. That is the first OFP where you get 50% off using the same promo code first OFP, and where you get 45% off using the promo code OFP45 if you've been with us for quite a while. So don't forget, this promo ends literally in 59 minutes. So make sure you grab yourself an account before this promo ends. So let us jump right into it, starting first with the dollar index. So, one moment. Let me push this here. So the dollar index, we were hoping for it to finally push all the way up and make a new high here around 101,800, but it came crashing all the way down. So if you had moved this break even, that would have been totally fine and great. If not, then you would have taken a loss on this. So what can we expect next week, especially with NFP that is coming about? Well, one thing you can expect next week is for the market to probably reverse at this point or to continue. Right now, we're in the middle of nowhere. We are literally just touching this huge candle here, which can be called probably a fair value gap or something. Yeah, and we haven't, and I do not trade that. So I think we might be pushing forward next week somewhere into this area. But before that happens, I do believe we might be coming up into this area once more. We might be testing it like at the very top there, at the very least. We have NFP coming next week. I do think the numbers are gonna be worse than expected. Yeah, so this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the market to come up here to 100.400 and then coming all the way down, probably touching this previous support level, like right there. And that could give us a good 1.7321 trade. So that is what I'm anticipating for next week. Let us make sure that is nicely zoomed in. So that's what I'm expecting for next week. Then euro dollar. Euro dollar, we also got stopped out real bad right here. Euro has been pushing strongly to the upside. We had like a wild consolidation here, like it was an arc consolidation. So it was consolidating, but it was consolidating in an arc, and it did not make a new low, but apparently just shot all the way up this week, especially with the Fed interest rate that remained unchanged. So what can we expect for next week? Oh, what am I doing here? So what can we expect for next week? Well, for next week, I do think also the same scenario will happen here. We might continue buy to the upside. So I am expecting the market to come probably slightly down here, probably to create a fake out. We're gonna keep that stop loss tight. So probably gonna calm me down here to make everybody think like we are coming down. And then finally, probably for NFP, it may shoot up all the way to 1.16200. So I'm expecting the move to go like this, touch this area, then boom to the upside. And this can be a nice 6 to 8 reward trade. Then dollar yen, don't get me started with dollar yen. This is an absolute mess. Like, yen has literally dropped like 4% from the intervention, and it's literally coming back to the levels where we were at in May. It's just like going all the way down there. So the question which is beckoning right now, will this recover or not? I don't think so, because looking at all this gain and then a sudden drop, I think yen might be aiming to close off this year probably negative. We can go over to a monthly chart. So if we zoom in here, where did the year start? The year started here. So we're actually even getting close. So this was like bullish for the first part of the year, first and second quarter. But it seems like for the last two quarters, we might be actually becoming below here, probably even touching 1.50. So that is what I'm anticipating on dollar yen. But what can we expect next week? Well, next week, I do think NFP will push this even further down. I do believe there'll be dollar weakness. So I'm expecting dollar yen to probably come to the previous intervention support area, which is all the way here. This was an intervention, by the way, but it was only 1%. It was a minor intervention. So I do think we might be coming to 155 next week. So how do we prepare for that? Well, we can prepare for it by actually going short. So I do think we might be coming back into this area slightly around 158,500. A high stop loss on the previous resistors here could be great. And then aiming for the previous intervention level around 5,500. Yeah, and this could be a nice 1.4 to 1 trade. So this is what I'm expecting for next week on dollar yen. Then pound yen, same scenario. We were dropping, we dropped really hard. We're even very close to our take profit right here. So it was like a boom, 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 then a sudden drop right there. So that's where we are currently. Take profit has not been hit because we are just looking to come down to these support levels. So for next week, I do think we're just going to be finishing up the job on dollar yen. So this one was a great take. This was like literally a 3.57 to 1. So if you entered in this one, this would have been a great trade to be in. Then dollar Mexican. Dollar Mexican doesn't seem to be going up. It's like everything is against the dollar. So next week, I am, like I've said, I will be against the dollar as well. Next week, I do think dollar will weaken next week. So we got to be ready for that. So we blipped here a little bit as well. So I'm thinking we might come back into that area as well. And probably it's going to be a nice area to come up in. And then we will be aiming for the downside here around 1715. But we might even touch exactly 1700. I do think we could even be coming down here to 1700 on a dollar Mexican. So this could be a nice 3 or even close 4 to 1 trade risk reward. So that is what we can anticipate for next week. Then CAD Swissy, we just dipped right down real quickly because of the intervention and then came back up slightly. So, but I do think we are still in a buy. So low stop loss with still a higher target over here, but I may reduce this target probably to the previous high right there around 0.5824, and this can be a 2.69 to 1 trade. So this is what I'm anticipating for next week on CAD Swiss. Then pound dollar. So pound dollar, we're still in this trade and we pushed slightly underneath with good profit. Then the intervention came in and then it just basically shocked the market. So there is gonna be some aftermath of this intervention which has affected certain markets. So all we can just do is continue holding on this pound dollar trade and seeing what happens next. Then gold. Gold is just moving sideways. It has not really made new lows. We're still waiting till we reach 5,000. And the question again is 5,000 when? Yeah, so we are waiting to see when 5,000 will actually be reached on gold. So let's wait on that and see. Yeah. NAS 100. NAS 100, we were looking for it to go up, but it dipped sharply. So we have like a V shape right here. So what can we expect for next week? Maybe a further pullback, probably into this mid area, which they call a fair value gap. So somewhere around 27,700 is where we could be coming down to. Then we could be aiming to just make a new high. I still think we are looking to make a new high on NAS 100. There's still room for that. So this could be a nice 5-to-1 trade. So this is what I'm anticipating for next week on NAS 100. Then let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still ravishing to the downside. We at 62,900, still about $12,000 away from the take profit. So we are still waiting on this Bitcoin move to the downside. Then lastly, Ethereum. So Ethereum, we did not really break through the downside. We just moved sideways. So we're waiting for that break to the downside. Then once we get in, that will be well and good. But I do think this can also be a good entry point, like right now here, and with a high stop loss on the previous resistance, aiming for the downside, previous low. That should be, let's just aim for like 1,450. So this is where I do think Ethereum could be coming down to for next week. So let's keep an eye watch on that. So this is where we conclude with our weekend analysis. I hope you enjoyed it, and do not forget you are currently left with 48 minutes to get yourself an account using the promo code FIRSTOFP if it's the first time with OFP. Then if you've been with us for quite a while, you can get 45% off using the promo code OFP45. So thank you all for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Make sure you back test, go through your trades for the week, see how you can improve or get better for next week and for August. Yeah. Hello, Gaston. Welcome. This is when we're concluding, but don't worry, you can watch the replay. The replay will be available immediately when I end this stream. So that's that. Thank you all for joining us. And like I said, I hope you have a great weekend and a great week ahead. I hope you guys are ready for NFP. And I guess we might be doing a giveaway as well. So get ready for that. Apart from that, all have a great weekend and happy trading.